6. All right, fourth grade friends, we're going to go over your chapter 6, so you're following along in your packets. Then we will read chapter 7 and figure out what is going to happen next. And then we got a visualization worksheet page, okay? So, chapter 6, our word that we needed to define. I see. I should see a lot more hands because I know you can answer that one really, really quickly. What was it, Aiden?
Underselling.
Underselling. Good. What type of speech was underselling again? You remember, Nathan?
A verb.
It's a verb. Good. And what is the definition of underselling, Kateri? What's the definition? Pricing the same goods for less than the competition. Good. Whose perspective was this chapter told from? Whose was it? Thomas, whose was this one? Jesse's in that third person, but focusing on Jesse this time. Good. Number 3. What is the WHJ Club? And I'm looking for a fourth grade quality answer. Peter, what's a fourth grade answer to that? It's the WHJ Club is the We Hate Jesse Club. Did anybody else's heart kind of break at that? Almost purple, isn't it? Oh, it's so mean. All right. Number 4. What does TTFN mean? And I accidentally told you the answer to this one. What is the answer to TTFN? What does it mean, Adam? Ta-ta for now. Ta-ta. I can't believe you guys had never heard of TTFN before. But I still can't believe you guys never say that to each other. TTFN? Maddie? You can share with Monica today. All right, pull, rein it back in, fourth grade friends. Almost there. All right, last question on the front. How do the events match the definition? Or maybe they didn't. What did you think? Do they or don't they, and why? What are you thinking, Monica?
I think it does relate because Evan undersold his companion, his competition.
His competition, and his competition is also Jesse. Did anyone think that the words did not match? Lily, they don't match?
Oh, sorry. I said that they do match.
No, do not.
She doesn't agree.
All right. Different reasons you might have, but you have time to take 2 of them. Different reasons that, other than Monica's, Evan is underselling his competition or Jesse. Something different. Nathan?
He's selling lemonade for 10 cents.
Because he's underselling. Yep, so you're giving me the text evidence. I like that. Was that similar to yours, Amelia?
Yeah.
Nice, using that evidence. Good. All right, take a flip side to the back side. All right, Evan's first strategy. Let's start with his. What was different about Evan's strategy? Alicia?
He changed it instead of 50 cents. He said lemonade for 10.
He changed the price from 50 cents to 10 cents. Was there anything else that Evan did that was different than Jesse's? Anything different? Rosie?
It worked.
His strategy worked. Evan was successful. Anything else you said that was different? Lizzie?
These people and Jesse had one.
Say that one more time.
Evan had 3 people helping him and Jesse had 1.
Evan had 3 people, and Jesse only had 1. Ooh, that is a big difference. Anything else that was different? Lily?
I thought that, I feel like he pulled his friends that it was going to, a good cause. So that's why they were like, oh, yeah, you can keep all the money.
Yeah, Evan kind of got his friends to help him because it's going to go for a good cause, right? So he got to have extra money because he got to keep his friends' shares. Good. So what might you have said for Jesse's share then? What does she have to do with her share? She has to split it. You might have said that. Anything else for Jesse's side while we're on the differences? Anything different? Anything different? Adam?
Jesse's strategy is to give free snacks to people that buy lemonade.
Yeah, Jesse's was to give the free snacks. Did that work out well for Jesse? Not as well as we thought. Anything else that was different for Jesse? All right, let's go to the middle then. What was the same about their strategies? Is there anything that was the same? Zach? Zeke?
Sell lemonade.
They were both selling lemonade. You got it. What else is the same? What else? Lizzie?
It was both trying to help them win.
Say it one more time.
It was both trying to help them win.
They were both doing it to help them win, right? They were both in it to win it. What else, Nathan?
They both did it, or they both used the strategy, not really used them.
Say that last part one more time. They both used a strategy.
Not really used.
But not very commonly used. They used different strategies that weren't commonly used. All right. Zach?
They both got their strategies from their mom's book of 10 ways to bring up the idea.
Yeah, they both got their ideas from Mom's little pamphlet from her book. And Rosie? They had more people that day, right? So they both had a lot of people. Did Jessie really sell lemonade? No, but she had a lot of people, didn't she? They both had a lot of people there. Yeah. How did Evan's strategy affect Jessie's strategy? Evans did something to Jessie's. What did it do to Jessie's? What did it do, Adam?
Evan's strategy affected Jesse because he was underselling people and people bought more lemonade because it was the lower price.
Yeah, that was a great fourth grade quality sentence snaps for Adam, using part of it in his answer. Specifically, people bought Evans because it was cheaper, right? So less people bought Jessie's lemonade. Something along those lines. Is it something along those lines of Evans sold more lemonade?
A little bit different.
Okay, Nate. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Everyone had some lemonade at Evans did, so nobody wanted it.
So nobody bought it at Jessie's. No one wanted any yet. Yep, that's pretty much the same. We got it. All right. Then you can turn to the back side of chapter 7. We'll come back to this after we read, but I want you to know what you're listening for as we're reading. We're going to work on visualizations today. You've done these. I know a lot in 3rd grade you did these, right? What does visualizations mean? Make the picture in your mind. So as you're reading, think of a visualization for Emmons. Oh, I combined lemon and Evan together there. Evan's lemonade stand downtown. Ooh. Draw exactly what you saw in your mind as you read that part of the novel. Okay, so as we're reading, keep that in mind. We're looking for Evan's lemonade stand. All right? Ooh, chapter 7's title is a little different. Okay. It says it 3 times. Why do you think they say it 3 times? Why, Zach?
Because it's like important.
Usually when things are important, we say it over and over, like Mrs. Wells saying directions over and over, right? Location. Pay attention. Okay. Location is a noun, real estate term that refers to the position of a piece of real estate as it relates to the value of that real estate. And for your friends, I know we want to work on homework too, but just keep in mind where you can find these answers, okay? Not right in during the time. I want you to take it in. Evan was in trouble. So far, he'd earned $47.11, which was more money than he'd ever had in his whole life. But today was Friday. There was only 3 days left. 3 days to beat Jessie. He needed to earn almost $53 to win the bet. And that meant each day he had to earn, Evan tried to do the math in his head. 53 divided by 3. 53 divided by 3. His brain spun like a top. He didn't know where to begin. He went to his desk, pulled out a piece of paper, his basketball schedule from last winter, and flipped it over on the back. He found the stub of a pencil in his bottom desk drawer, and on the paper he wrote, 53 divided by 3 equals... He stared at it and stared at the equation on the page. The number 53 was just too big. He didn't know how to do it. Remember, he hasn't had a 4th grade teacher yet, like most Walls. So he doesn't know how to do this.
Let's solve that problem. So 3 times blank equals...
Jesse would know how to do it, he muttered, scribbling hard on the page. Jessie could do long division. Jessie had her multiplication facts memorized all the way up to 14 times 14. Jessie would look at a problem like this and just do it in her head. Snap. Evan felt his mouth getting tight, his fingers gripping the pencil too hard as he scribbled a dark storm cloud on the page. How is Evan feeling right now? What evidence do we have that he's mad? What? He drew storm clouds. What else is going on? Adam? He's holding his pencil too tight. There's one more thing that's going on that proves he's mad. Amelia, did you find it?
Is it snap?
No, it's right after that.
Oh, his mouth's getting tight.
His mouth is getting tight. I'm going to take my mask off so you can see. Sometimes when you're angry, do you ever feel your mouth do this? Kind of go, like your lips kind of purse in and you go, and you kind of like focus. Your mouth gets tight sometimes when you're angry. Not on purpose. So sometimes it just does. It's kind of like you trying to, what do you think your body's trying to do? Keep it in. Hold those emotions in. Good. Will you do me a favor and close that curtain, please?
I've tried 18, but that only gets us 54, so it has to be 17.
So he felt his mouth. His math papers from school were always covered in X's. Nobody else got as many X's as he did. Nobody. Ooh. I'm feeling a little empathetic towards Evan right now. I'm feeling like sometimes I've had papers like that where it feels like I have so many red marks on it. And it's like, how come nobody ever gets this?
I found the problem.
Draw a picture. Mrs. DeFazio's voice floated in his head. She had always reminded him to draw a picture when he couldn't figure out how to start a math problem. A picture of what? He asked in his head. Anything, came the answer. Anything? Yes, anything, as long as there are 53 of them. Dollar signs. Evan decided to draw dollar signs. He started to draw 3 rows of dollar signs. 1, 2, 3, he counted as he drew. 4, 5, 6, he drew. By the time he reached 53, his page looked like this. Then there were 17 dollar signs in each row, and then those 2 extra dollar signs left over. Evan drew a dollar sign or a ring around those 2 extras. $17 and 2 left over. Evan stared at the picture for a long time. He wrote Friday next to the first row, Saturday next to the second row, and Sunday next to the third row. Evan looked at this picture. It started to make sense. He needed to make $17 on Friday, $17 on Saturday, and $17 on Sunday. And somewhere over the 3 days, he needed to make 2 extra bucks in order to earn $53 by Sunday evening. Evan felt his heart jump in his chest. He had done it. He had figured out 53 divided by 3. That was a 4th grade problem. That was 4th grade math. And he hadn't even started 4th grade. And no one had helped him. Not Mom, not Grandma, not Jessie. He'd done it all by himself. It was like shooting the winning basket in double overtime. Ooh, what kind of figurative language is that? Simile. He hadn't felt this good since the Lemonade War had begun. But $17 a day? How was he going to do that? Yesterday he made $45, but that was because he'd had help and free supplies from his friends. They weren't going to want to run a lemonade stand every day, especially on the last days of summer vacation. He needed a plan, something that would guarantee good sales. The weather was holding out, that was for sure. It was going to hit 95 degrees today, a real scorcher. People would be thirsty, all right. Evan closed his eyes and imagined a crowd of thirsty people, all waving dollar bills at him. Now, where was he going to find a lot of thirsty people with money to spend? An idea popped into Evan's head. Yep, it was perfect. He just needed to find something with wheels to get him there. It took Evan half an hour to drag his loaded wagon to the town center, a distance he usually traveled in less than 5 minutes by bike. But once he was there, he knew it was worth it. It was lunchtime, and the shaded benches on the town green were filled with people sprawling in the heat. Workers from the nearby stores on their half-hour lunch breaks, moms out with their kids, old people who didn't want to be cooped up in their houses all day, high schoolers on skateboards sloshed by, preschoolers climbed on the life-size sculpture of a circle of children playing Ring Around the Rosie, dogs lay under trees, their tongues hanged out, pant, pant, pant. Evan surveyed the scene and picked his spot, right in the center of the green where all the paths met. Anyone walking across the green would have to pass his stand, and who could resist lemonade on a day as hot as this? But first he wheeled his wagon off to the side, parking it halfway under a huge rhododendron. Then he crossed the street and walked into the Big Dipper. What do you think? It's under, what do you think it's kind of like? Like a tree, or I'm thinking a bridge. The frozen air felt good on his skin. It was like getting dunked in a vat of just melted ice cream. The smells. A mix of vanilla, chocolate, coconut, caramel, and bubble gum. He looked at the tubs of ice cream, all in a row, carefully protected behind a pane of glass. The money in his pocket tingled. He had plenty left over after buying 5 cans of frozen lemonade mix with his earnings from yesterday. What would it hurt to buy just 1 cone? Or a milkshake? Or maybe both? Can I help you? Asked the woman behind the counter. Yeah, said Evan. He stuck his hand in his pocket and felt all the money. Bills and coins ruffled between his fingers. Money was meant to be spent. Why not spend a little? Evan could just imagine how good the ice cream would feel sliding down his hot throat. Creamy, sweet, like cold, golden deliciousness. He let his mind float as he gazed at the swirly buckets of ice cream. The sound of laughter brought him back to earth in a hurry. He looked around. It was just some girls he didn't know at the water fountain, but it had sounded like Megan Moriarty. Can you please let me know how much a glass of lemonade costs? $3, said the woman. Really? Said Evan. That much? How big's the cup? The woman pulled a plastic cup off a stack and held it up. It wasn't much bigger than the 8-ounce cup Evan had in his wagon. Wow, $3. That's a lot, said Evan. Well, thanks anyway. He started to walk to the door. Hey, said the woman, pointing to the ice cream case. I'm allowed to give you a taste for free. Really? Said Evan. Then, could I taste the strawberry slam? The woman handed him a tiny plastic spoon with 3 licks worth of pink ice cream on it. Evan swallowed it all in one gulp. Back outside, he got to work. First, he filled his pitchers with water from the drinking fountain. Then he stirred in the mix. Then he pulled out a big blue marker and wrote on a piece of paper, $2 per cup, best price in town. He'd barely finished setting up when the customers started lining up. And they didn't stop. Just picture in your head, remember his stand so far? Okay. For a full hour, he poured lemonade. The world is a thirsty place, he thought as he nearly emptied his 4th pitcher of the day. And I am the lemonade king. Later, Evan would think of something his grandma said. Pride goeth before a fall. Ooh, what do you think that means?
He's gonna lose his money.
He's gonna lose his money, you think? Why do you think that?
Because pride is like happy lemonade, and he's thinking I'm the lemonade king. So he might see like Jesse, he might lose a bunch of money down the drain, he might spend it all.
So right now he's feeling like a king, right? Top of the world. But then Grandma always says, pride goeth before a fall. And it said later he would think of that. So later, what's going to happen, do you think?
Somebody stole his money.
Something's going to happen. He's going to fall. He's not going to feel like a king anymore. When Evan looked up, there was Officer Ken, his hands on his hip, looking down on him. Evan gulped. He stared at the large holstered gun strapped to Officer Ken's belt. Hello. said Officer Ken, not smiling. Is that a good sign? Hi, said Evan. Officer Ken did the bike rodeo every year at Evan's school. He was also the cop who had shown up last fall when there was a hurt goose on the recess field. Officer Ken was always smiling. Why isn't he smiling now? Evan wondered. Do you have a permit? Asked Officer Ken. He had a very deep voice, even when he talked quietly, like he did now. You mean like a bike permit? That's what the rodeo was all about. If they passed the rodeo, the third graders got their bike permits, which meant they were allowed to ride to school. No, I mean a permit to sell food and beverages in a public space. You need to get a permit from the town hall and pay a fee for the privilege. Pay the town hall to run a lemonade stand? Was he kidding? Evan looked at Officer Ken's face. He didn't look like he was kidding. I didn't know I needed one, said Evan. Sorry, friend, said Officer Ken. I'm going to have to shut you down. It's the law. But, there are lemonade stands all over town, said Evan. He thought of Jesse and Megan's lemonade stand. When he'd wheeled by with his wagon more than an hour ago, their stand had looked like a beehive, with small kids crowding around. He had read the sign over their stand. Free face painting, free nail polishing, hair braiding. What a gimmick. But it sure looked like it was working. You know, said Evan, there's a stand on Damon Road right now. You should go bust them. Officer Ken smiled. We tend to look the other way when it's in a residential neighborhood. But right here on the town green, we have to enforce the law. Otherwise, we'd have someone selling something every 2 feet. But there had to be some way to convince Officer Ken. How could Evan make him understand? You see, I've got this little sister, and we've got a competition going to see who can sell the most lemonade. And I've got to win because she's... He couldn't explain the rest. About 4th grade. About how embarrassed he was to be in the same class as his kid sister. And how it made him feel like a great big loser. Evan looked up at Officer Ken. Officer Ken looked down at Evan. It was like Officer Ken was wearing a mask. A no smiling mask. I'm not your buddy mask. Then Officer Ken shook his head and smiled, and the mask fell off. I've got a little sister, too, he said. Love her to death now. But when we were kids, Officer Ken sucked in his breath and shook his head. Whew. Then the mask came back, and Officer Ken looked right at Evan for 10 very stern seconds. Tell you what, said Officer Ken, I do have to shut you down. The law's the law. But before I do, I'll buy 1 glass of lemonade. How's that sound? Evan's face fell. Sure, he said without enthusiasm. He poured an extra tall cup and gave it to the policeman. Officer Ken reached into his pocket and handed Evan a $5 bill. Keep the change, he said. A contribution to the Big Brother Fund. Now clean up your things and don't leave any litter behind. He lifted his cup in a toast as he walked away. Evan watched him go. Wow, he thought. I just sold the most expensive cup of lemonade in town. Evan stared at the $5 bill in his hand. It was funny. 2 days ago, he would have felt as rich as a king to have that money in his hands. It was enough to buy 2 slices of pizza and a soda with his friends. It was enough to rent a video and have a late night at someone's house. It was enough to buy a whole bag of his favorite candy mix at CVS. 2 days ago, he would have been jumping for joy. Now he looked at the $5 and thought, it's nothing. Compared to the $100 he needed to win the war, $5 was nothing. He felt somehow that he'd been robbed of something. Maybe the happiness he should have been feeling. He loaded everything from his stand into the wagon, making sure he didn't leave a scrap of litter behind. He still had a glass full of lemonade left in one pitcher, not to mention another whole pitcher already mixed up and unsold. So he poured himself a full cup. Then, before beginning the long, hot haul back to his house, he found an empty spot on a shaded bench and pulled his earnings out of his pockets. He counted once. He counted twice. Very slowly. He had made $25 or $65. The cups and lemonade mix had cost $9. When he added in his earnings from Wednesday and Thursday, he had $103.11. Now that's enough, he thought. Ooh.
My God!
How does that? You think does he just go to Jesse now? Because
What? So that's what I wanted to ask you for the friends. What's the bet? Or the most. It wasn't just the first person. It was whoever has the most by Sunday night. So is it good? Do you think Evan should stop selling? No. Right? That's enough. Knowing Evan, right? He just said that's enough. You think so? Maddie? Maybe he'll play it kind of coy, being like, oh, I wish I had enough money. And then Jesse will be like, haha, I can lay down, right? I don't have to keep selling as much. Was it smart of Jesse? What was Jesse's strategy in this chapter? What was Jesse's strategy? The nail polish, face paintings. Why is that a better idea than the snack? Monica?
Because like sometimes I swallow can do like a drink or something maybe. And, yeah.
Well, think through the business side of it too. Think through the cost of it. Is it very expensive to do hair braiding? Does it cost anything for them to braid hair? No. Hair binders maybe, but knowing Megan, what do you think Megan has a lot of? Hair binders. She probably has a lot of nail polish. Remember last chapter she came down with all of those already? So do they have to buy those? They already have them. Nathan? Okay. Lily?
Didn't at the start of the book, Jesse said that you can only sell lemonade?
Yeah, they're only selling lemonade. It's what was that called again? Remember? Value added, right? They're giving them that extra stuff for the same price, so they get all those extra things in. Good. All right, participants, let's take a look at our visualization sheet. You know what? Go ahead and cross this off.
We seriously did it!
You already did it.
Yeah.
Then turn to the chapter 7 questions.
Also did that.
Fourth grade friends, please put your pencils down so I know you can hear all the directions. You do need full answers. You do. If you come to me with one-word answers tomorrow or on Monday, I'm going to give you half a point. You did half the work. Why should you get all the credit? Okay. Word definition, perspective, then 3. What does Evan do early in the chapter that makes him feel proud of himself? How does he do it? How does he do the task? What does he do? Okay. Number 4. How do the events in this chapter relate to the phrase defined at the beginning? Or why is there no connection? Questions on chapter 7 questions. Alicia.
Is it okay that you do like say first point of view and then quotation marks around? Who would it be? Whose point of view is it? Would that count as like
Is that a full sentence?
no?
person.
That's just a person. It won't take you that long to write in. This chapter is told from insert person's point of view
/
here. Okay. Rosie?
What do you call it when it's like it's like Jesse is thinking, but it's not their point of view, but it's their perspective.
So, was it Evan's words and he was thinking what Jesse would say?
No. Like, how would you say, what is it called when somebody in a book is like thinking, is speaking, but it says like Jesse.
Jesse thought. I think let's still let third person, but then it's focusing more on Jesse's thought there.
I just think Jesse and her.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I put Jesse.
Okay. All right. All right. Then I will give you 5-ish minutes of homework work time, friends. That's all we got today.